Welcome to today's podcast, and I wanted to do a podcast away from the schedule that I have for my podcast episodes, because I think this one is really important, and you probably can hear by the sound of my voice that I do have COVID at this time, and it's just been a huge reminder for me as to why I started my fitness business online and why I continue online and why I want to help others take their fitness business online. And I wanted to share that with you today. So, whatever thoughts you have around going online with your fitness business, whether you want to do it, whether you don't want to do it, whether you think it's kind of a cop out and you're being lazy in some way because you're doing a service online and not face to face and supporting your clients, whether you think it's a really good idea and you want to do it because you know it's going to make your life easier, whether you think it's really hard to do it, whatever kind of beliefs, whatever thoughts you have around taking your fitness business online, I want you to really consider everything that I'm sharing with you today and relate it to your own life as well, but also think about the future, think about things that could happen and how online could help you. And you may already have experienced this throughout lockdown, throughout the pandemic. Maybe online was really good for you throughout the pandemic. It gave you the opportunity to still teach and do your classes on Zoom. And it gave you the opportunity to have an income coming in, even though we couldn't physically teach in venues and at gyms and wherever your fitness business was before. So maybe you've already experienced online, but maybe now you really struggle to get people to your online side of your business because people want face-to-face. And so you're really struggling in that sense. So what I want to really emphasize here, and what I've always done from the very beginning, before lockdowns, before most people took their fitness businesses online, my emphasis has always been on not just online, but on demand. And what that really means is on demand is basically your clients having access to your content whenever they want without having to rely on you, and having access to content so it suits their lifestyle. So they don't have to wait around for a specific day, a specific time. They don't have to leave the house or go out in the cold, or all those excuses that people make in terms of going out for their fitness. So that's always been my aim, is to have things on demand, and that is to make things easier for myself. It's not to make me lazy in terms of the service that I provide, because I still provide incredible value for everybody who is a part of my on-demand service. I still hold space for them, I still check in with them, I still provide them with lots of value and lots of structure, and actually in a bigger way in terms of they get to build not only their fitness, but also they get to build their consistency muscle and their willpower muscle and their motivation muscle and their self-discipline muscle in the process of being on demand with me as well. So that's always been my aim, and that's always been my goal, because when I first started wanting to go online, it was just really in a very small way to grow my audience, to get more people into my classes. So I would do YouTube videos and challenges, and I would really get used to building my email list. But then I got burnt out and I got ill. So my main focus for going online was to build my classes, but then I was teaching too many classes, teaching too many high impact classes, teaching too many evenings, and not really having a balance in my life. And therefore my aim became to go online in a way that I didn't have to teach if I didn't need to, or I could really cut down, have a majority of my income online, so I could teach just the classes that I wanted, that I enjoyed, and I wasn't tied down to only teaching classes, to only having an income through teaching classes. And so this came about when I was really burnt out. I was literally teaching so many classes. I felt like I couldn't take any time off because my time off basically came with no income, and my time off came with guilt as well, of like, oh, I'm not going to make any money, or people still want their classes, and that means I'm going to have to find cover for that class if it was a gym class. So many different feelings and emotions came up in terms of teaching a class. And I actually really started to resent teaching. I started to resent fitness, didn't want to do it for my own health and well-being. I wasn't waking up motivated to teach classes. I was really, and again, a part of that was the burnout. It was changing my mood. I think it had a huge effect. The stress of it all had a huge effect on my gut health, which again led me to being undiagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So on top of having to teach 20 plus classes per week, traveling here and there for all those classes, but I was struggling with all these symptoms of ulcerative colitis that wasn't diagnosed, which was, again, I was worried about. I was like really stressed about what this was. And all of that combined, being stressed about all these symptoms I didn't know, I was feeling ill, I was really run down, and that the stress of not knowing what that was, and also not knowing if it was going to take me away from teaching, which was my only income, all of that had a huge effect on this burnout that I had. And when I was finally diagnosed, I was at that point where I was literally crying before every day, not wanting to go and teach. My energy was low, which had an effect on my motivation, on my enthusiasm for classes and for my business. And it was it's a really low time. And it was a time when I just didn't want to do any of it. And it got to that point where I did go and have tests at the hospital. And by that time, my resting heart rate was 128 beats per minute. And I was literally told, like, how are you still doing everything that you are doing? And how have you not been hospitalized yet for everything? And obviously, I felt like I was a fit person. And I think that contributed to me not being hospitalized. But that's where it was basically going. If I'd have continued and not pushed to get these results and these tests, I basically would have been hospitalized and burnt out. But that resulted in me, it got me a diagnosis, which was brilliant, because then I knew I could get it treated. I knew that I could be on the mend, but it also meant that I had to take 3 months off. I had to take 3 months off, and I was self-employed at this time. And that was a huge wake-up call. And even though I wouldn't want to go through that again, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody, it was a blessing. And I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't not go through that again, because I think it was a really good opportunity for me to know what I wanted, how I could do that, how I could start to build online, and also it's given me the motivation and the determination to help others not go through something like that. So I'm really blessed. I'm really grateful for that terrible, awful time. And again, maybe the pandemic and the last 2 years has done that for you. And I want you to see that as a positive rather than a negative. Everything that you've been through over the past 2 years, look at that as a positive and a drive to not have to go through that again. really create changes in your fitness business so you don't have to suffer that again. You don't have to go through that again, regardless of whether it's a pandemic, whether it's an illness, whether it's a huge life change that forces you to, again, maybe not being able to teach. This is your opportunity to really create freedom in your fitness business while helping 10 times more people. And I think that's what we lose sight of when going online. Sometimes we think we're doing it out of kind of selfishness and being kind of greedy in terms of we're making our lives easier as fitness professionals. So as fitness professionals, we always want to help people. We always want to be there for people and please people and help people as much as we can. And sometimes on the surface of going online, it seems like we're not. And it seems like we just need to be there. We need to constantly be on and we need to constantly be there for people. And it's really learning to take a step back and help people from afar and help people from a place where we can also help ourselves and put our health first. So obviously getting COVID for the first time in the whole of the pandemic, the last 2 years, it's really made me appreciate what I've built online and more determined than ever to help others do the same, because it means that I can take a step back, I can relax and allow my body to heal, allow myself to fully recover. It means that I don't have to worry about, oh my goodness, like I'm not getting any income because I'm not teaching, because I'm not physically teaching, I'm not getting any income. It allows me to relax because I am receiving income regardless of whether I'm physically teaching or physically working. And again, just the other day, I had an incoming sale. I had a new member sign up to my Fit at Home on demand, as well as my 21-day face yoga. And that was the first day I had COVID. And I thought, wow, I'm still getting sales in. I'm still making an income. I'm still bringing in new clients without actually having to teach. And yes, there's work involved in promotion, in marketing, in creating content for my on-demand. So I still need to work, but actually it gives me that freedom to be flexible with when I work. So when I have times like this, when I do have COVID, when I can't physically teach, when I'm maybe feeling quite ill at the moment, with the cold and the kind of flu-y, coughy symptoms, which you can probably hear in my voice, it means that I can really not worry about having the time off. It means that I can know that I still have something coming in regardless of whether I'm physically teaching. And that is huge from where I've come from the first good kind of 8-10 years of my business, where a lot of what I was doing was face-to-face teaching and physically being there for a service, having to spend my time to receive money, to receive income in my business. And it's just so huge, and I can't express enough how much gratitude I have for my online fitness business and how grateful I am for my online clients and for what I've created and for the way I've created it as well. Because I think, again, when we've been through that pandemic, a lot of people have only experienced the Zoom side of an online fitness business where you still have to be there teaching a live Zoom class. And there's so much more. There is so much more that you can do online and so many more ways you can help people. And you might be thinking things like, but now we're back face to face. Everybody wants face to face. Everybody just wants that human connection. Everybody that was online with me is now just going back to face. And yes, people do want that, but there are still so many people out there. Otherwise, there wouldn't be all these apps and all these celebrities doing the online fitness thing if there wasn't an audience for it. And there's somebody out there waiting for you personally, for your message, for what you have to offer. There's somebody out there waiting for you to do that online. There's people out there who aren't ready to come back to face-to-face classes, who aren't ready to ever go to a face-to-face class because it's not how they want to kind of get access to their fitness. Maybe they're feeling really unconfident and they don't like going out to work out because they're maybe self-conscious with their body. Maybe they're self-conscious with going out after going through the pandemic. There's people out there who actually want the convenience of being able to do something first thing in the morning, being able to do something around a really busy life that isn't maybe consistent. Maybe somebody does shifts and they need the access whenever it suits them. So there is always going to be somebody for your online fitness business. And again, I think so many of us have taken our fitness business online throughout the pandemic, serving our face-to-face clients who will always want face-to-face. You may have people who have kind of joined you and come online and not wanting to go back to face-to-face. But if you've got a majority of your audience who joined you in lockdown, the majority of them will prefer face-to-face. And so it's time for you to really explore a different side of online and actually reach out to those people who aren't those face-to-face people, who do want the online aspect of their fitness and who are looking for somebody like you to help them with that journey. And again, you may be thinking, oh, but there's so many celebrities doing it for cheaper, or why would somebody choose me? And here's the reason why. Sometimes a lot of celebrities are really unrelatable. And people won't want to do a workout with somebody who seems perfect at what they're doing, who seems like they have it all together. And so you might be that local community fitness instructor who, if you took your fitness business online, would relate to the person who is looking for that. You might be a fitness instructor who specializes in a certain age group or people with a certain condition. And you are going to appeal to those people the way a celebrity wouldn't. So I don't want you to hold yourself back because you think that this isn't right for you, or you think nobody wants to do online with you, or because most of the people who joined you online throughout the pandemic have now left you in that online aspect alone. There's still people out there who need you. And again, I want you to think about you and what you want your fitness business to look like. Do you want to still be teaching however many classes you're teaching in a year's time, in 5 years' time? Do you still want to be relying on an income from a face-to-face service in a year's time, in 2 years' time, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? Do you want the flexibility of being able to teach exactly what you love so your face-to-face classes can thrive, but you know you have an online income to make things a little bit easier for you when you do want to go on holiday, when you do want to rest and recover when you're ill, when you do want to look after your children when they are ill, when life gets a bit crazy, maybe you're moving house, maybe you want to move to a completely different country and don't want to have to build up in a specific area, and you want to have almost the world as your oyster and be able to serve anyone from anywhere because you want to live and travel anywhere in the world and still be able to have a business. So it's going to be completely specific to you. For me, I'm doing online because of this reason, because I have a condition that does cause me fatigue every now and then, and I need that flexibility of having the income online in case I have a flare up with my ulcerative colitis, which can happen at any time and which has happened in the past year. And for me, it's just that freedom of, from everything that I've been through, to have that freedom of still being able to have an income without physically teaching, when all I've known in my fitness business was those physical classes, that time for money format to make an income. And I know that that doesn't work for me anymore, and I know that there is another way. So I can still enjoy teaching classes because it is what I love to do, but now I can do it from a place of energy and motivation, and actually teaching those classes from a place that I enjoy, because I'm not doing it 24/7. So I hope that's helped. It's been a little bit of a run-of-the-mill episode, but I hope it gives you a little bit of insight into why I've taken my fitness business online. And again, I just wanted to express how grateful I am for my online fitness business now finally catching COVID, and having COVID. It's really made me appreciate things so much more. So please reach out to me if you have any questions. And if you do want to start online, I'm happy to have a chat with you. And I have so many services as well where it can help you go online too. So you can read the show notes and explore those services that may be able to help you go online. So I will see you next week for hopefully a more upbeat episode.